This is March 3rd, 2016, Hot Springs, Montana. We're interviewing Bill Perkins. Where were you born, Bill?
I was born in Hot Springs. At the hospital here.
Oh, great. And when?
December 19th, 1957.
Oh, okay. And, okay, we'll get to with your do you remember anything about your great-grandparents?
From what I've been told.
Yes, well, that's fine. That's what we need these days.
Okay, like several of them. For instance, like Betty Andrews told me about when my grandmother called over at Fuzzy McGarrett's place when they used to live on the other side of the hill over on Marshall Gulch.
Yeah.
And she called over and asked if someone could come over and chase the cows, change pasture, because this was during hay season. So Ed McGarrett's sister went over and did it. Went over and chased the cows, changed pasture, and then my grandmother paid her 50 cents for doing it. And, you know, at that time, 50 cents was a lot of money.
Oh, mm-hmm. And your grandmother's name was Sarah?
Sarah Robson Perkins.
Okay. And where was she born?
I believe she was born in Minnesota.
About when?
Oh, 1800s, 1870s, I think.
Okay, that's about right. Mm-hmm. Okay, any more stories about Sarah?
Another one that she used to drive the old Camas Road, and she used to to Copenhagen. And she used to always spit Copenhagen as she was driving the road. Her in her car. She'd get in the car and go up to Camas all the way over to the other side.
And then she would go up the West Road as fast as that old bugger would run.
That's what she did. That's what I've heard.
And then you would watch out. You didn't want to be down on the road when you knew she was going to church on Sundays.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, okay. And now your mother was born?
My mother was born in Missouri.
Okay, and your father was born?
In Kalispell.
Kalispell.
And he came here when he was 3 years old.
And so they were born there, and your mom was born, and so your mom was Alpha, and your dad was
Harold.
I can't remember your dad's name.
Harold.
Al?
Harold Perkins. That was my dad.
Oh, Al. Okay.
Harold.
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 And so they farmed over the hill here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they ranched.
Mm-hmm. Ranch. Did they raise a lot of cattle? And
they raised cattle. My grandfather also had alfalfa seed. In fact, he had it patented, Cossack alfalfa seed. Sold it all over the place. In fact, all over the world. He had it patented from 1916 to 1966, 50-year patent.
oh, wow. Huh? Okay, your grandfather was Sarah's husband?
Yes.
Okay, and what was his name?
W.W. Perkins.
Okay. And so where was he born?
Minnesota, too.
Minnesota? I guess you told us that. And so when did he come to Montana?
No, I don't know when he came to Montana. I'm not sure about that.
When he was little, or?
I think he was an adult when he did. He worked for the Forest Service. He worked in Glacier Park.
And did they homestead?
Yeah, they homesteaded here. 1911, I believe it is. They were one of the early homesteaders.
Oh, yes. And did they ever just talk about how they came to come down?
Yeah, in wagon.
In a wagon?
Wagon from Kalispell. All their goods, they brought in a horse and wagon. They didn't have cars really then to haul their stuff, so they came with horse and wagon down here, as well a lot of people did.
Mm-hmm. And so they had a team of horses and did a lot of ranching with the horses, the same horses?
Yeah, he had horses, but when I came into being, when I was born, he didn't have horses. He just had the cattle. Okay. Any more about what all he did? He was one of the first people in this valley that had orchard.
No.
He had apple orchard and plums.
Is this over the hill then they had all?
Yeah, right over this ridge right here, Morsel Gulch.
Okay,
Just go over
Morsel
the hill and it's Morsel Gulch right there. Directly. Because my dad used to walk to school from over the hill to Camas. Went to school there.
Oh, in Camas, there
In
was a school.
Camas.
Do you know, did they ever show you where it was?
No,
We don't
I'm not
know.
sure where it is.
I took it that it was across from Mrs. Ganaway's, but somebody said it was back up on the hill.
I think it was because they found some old bottles. Somebody said that they found old ink bottles.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
In fact, they said that they used to ride horses up over the hill. Not just walking all the time. They just got on horses and went over the hill.
And
So-
then, did they have a place for them to tie them up or keep the horses
No, I
at the
don't
school?
know. They must have. They must
Yeah.
have had a place for them.
But it's kind of strange up on the hill if they had water.
I don't know how they did that.
Yeah. And how long the school lasted there before they moved it here to Hot Springs.
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Okay, and you were growing up, did you grow up out there then?
Yeah, I did. I grew up
Okay.
out there.
And how was your growing up days? Before you started school, what all did you do? What do you remember before you started school?
Oh, I used to explore in the hills all the time. Used to go all over the acreage, all over the land. Go up into the tree, up over the sagebrush, even the old orchard.
So did you ever find any artifacts? Tribal artifacts
no.
or anything?
Didn't see any. It's all rocks. Rocks and sagebrush. That's all we ever saw.
And you never found any gold or anything?
Nothing like that. No. I was told that my Uncle Warren or Uncle Ralph had lost a rifle up somewhere up in the hill, a .22, and they never found it. So
And
it's
you-
still lost up there someplace.
You never found it either?
Never found it either. No.
Well, at one time, somebody found an old rifle around here in a tree. The tree grew up around it.
That's a good one.
So where did you start first grade?
Hot Springs.
Okay, did you catch a bus?
Caught the bus.
Do you remember your bus driver?
Yeah, Harvey Schultz.
Okay. And how was your first grade? Who was your teacher?
Cedarstrom.
This is
Thelma Cedarstrom, my first grade teacher.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. And how was that when you started first grade? Did you learn fairly fast, or?
I learned. I don't know if I learned fast, but I did learn.
I guess she was a very good teacher.
Yeah, she was.
And second grade?
Mrs. Buck,
Mrs. Bach, huh? Third grade?
Mrs. Zimmer,
Oh, and how about fourth grade?
Mrs. Sharp.
Okay. And anything exciting? Did you play small sports, baseball sports and things? In
Only
grade school?
PE at that time. We had physical ed. That's just that kind of
You
stuff.
didn't have any sports or anything?
We used to have, I don't know if they still do, they used to have Sanders County track
For
for the grade school.
for grade school?
When I was in grade school, they did.
So, and then after you got through the 8th grade, how was high school?
Tolerable.
Oh,
Wasn't much into high school. Couldn't wait to get out.
oh. Who was your teacher? So who was?
Lloyd Redmond was one. Minaruzma was one. Blackburn was one. Peterson.
And shop? Did you take shop?
Yeah, I took shop when I was in the 7th and 8th grade.
Okay, and so while you were growing up, did you play sports? Did your folks get to go to sports and things? Your mom and dad?
No, they didn't go to the sports, but I did participate in sports.
Basketball, football.
and track.
Oh, okay. Did you win any trophies?
No, didn't win any trophies, no.
Did your team go on to like divisional and?
They went to divisionals, that's as far as we went. We didn't go to state.
So who did you play ball with? Who all?
Marshalls, Magaras, Depots, Dalton.
Okay. Then after you graduated, you got out of your high school. So what did you do after you graduated?
I went to California. Right, George. 2 years in California, and then went to Washington. And I went to school there, and I stayed in Washington for a while. And about 84, 85, I moved back here. Was here about like a couple of years, then went back to Washington. Lived in Bellevue, Washington. Then moved to Kirkland. Then after that, I came back in the early 90s.
Okay, and while you were in college in Washington, what did you study?
Just general education.
Were you planning on being a teacher then?
Didn't have any plan for teaching or anything, no.
So, and then you went to work in Washington?
I went to work in Washington, worked in a hospital.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you work in the hospital then when you were in California, maybe?
No, I didn't, no.
So, did you study nursing then?
No, I actually worked as a housekeeper. And then eventually later on I became like a relief crew leader, supervisor job, so.
Oh, wow. And then, so you went all over then, and then you went back again to Washington, the same?
Yeah, same place, was there till about early 90s, then I came back here. I was here till 99, then I went to New York.
Okay. And what did you do when you came back to Hot Springs?
I went a couple of years to the U of M.
And studied?
Physical education.
Oh, okay. And then you went to New York.
I went to New York.
And how did you like New York?
It was a different place.
You what?
It's a different place. It's nothing like Montana. It's much more fast-paced, and people are a little bit more impatient.
And that's kind of a rude awakening for a Montana boy.
Yeah, a little bit, but then again, I lived in Washington and California, so it's not, wasn't that bad.
What did you remember about your mother and dad? Where did your dad work?
On the ranch.
On the ranch? I thought they lived in town quite a bit.
No, we lived when we moved to town in about the early 70s when he retired.
Oh. Okay. So did he take care of the orchard? I don't remember trees and things out there.
Yeah, it's up on the hill.
Oh.
Went up there in the fall when we picked the plums. We had plums up there, a lot of plums.
I wonder if the trees are still there.
Yeah, they're still there from what I could see, but I don't know if they're alive or not.
So you don't know who owns them now?
See, I think it's tribal. I think the tribe bought it.
And so they have any stories for when they were ranching or anything?
None that I can think of right offhand. Well, I remember the times when my dad and Steve Andrews and Smokey Sutton, they'd all have days that they go and brand and vaccinate. They go from one place, like my dad's first, and then Steve's, and then Smokey and whoever else. It's like there's this clique that they would do that. They would help each other.
Well, they're still doing that, I think, these days. Having branding fees, yes. And did they go hunting and that?
Yeah, they did go hunting. When my dad had horses, him and Fuzzy used to go hunting together, and Gilbert Schreiber and my Uncle Charlie too.
So, and they must have lived pretty close to some of the tribal members out there, the ones that lived up the gulch, Mary Valley.
I've heard of her. Didn't know her.
Okay, so after in New York then, what all did you do in New York?
I got married.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad.
Met my wife there.
And then what did you guys do then for a while in New York before you came back?
Did some ministry work in New York.
Okay.
And then moved back here in 2011.
So your ministry, did it take you like missionary? Were you a missionary?
Yeah, originally I went to New York as a missionary.
From what church here?
I was an independent.
Oh, the Bible church?
No, it wasn't Bible church. It was from Helena.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Helena for a couple of months too before I went to New York.
Oh, okay. So you were a missionary there. Then, what did you do? What kind of missionary work?
Went to the Jewish people.
You visited, or?
I witnessed to some Jewish people.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then later on, I had a youth group, a congregation of the youth.
Were they some of the New York children that are street people, or?
No, they all lived in a trailer park.
Kind of homeless?
No, they weren't homeless. They all lived. Their parents lived there, or they lived there. Young people.
And how did that go?
Oh, that didn't last very long. We went to something else. Something else came along.
So you didn't really make a difference with any of the children?
Oh, I know it made a difference.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I know
good.
it made a difference. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then you and your wife came back here in 2011, so that's
Yeah.
not too long ago.
Yeah, we came back here, huh?
And what does she think of Hot Springs?
What do you think of Hot Springs?
Now I love it.
At first she didn't, because it was, it's not like New York. It's more faster pace and bigger. She wasn't used to the rural setting.
The atmosphere.
In Montana too.
Everybody knowing your business.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, and have you worked since you've been here then?
Yes, right now I work for the Council of Aging.
Okay.
I schedule people on the buses, and I also do commodities too.
Oh, okay.
Every
Did you just
2
start
months.
with council?
Yeah, in August.
Oh, okay. Because I see they were advertising for another person. Huh?
Yeah, the person who oversees transportation.
So that's not your cup of tea.
That's not my cup of tea.
Ah. And so, okay, and so what else do you do then? What do you do for Council on Aging?
Oh, I schedule people on the buses. And then I also do the commodities every 2 months. I go over and unload the truck, and then also put them in the boxes. And in 2 days out of the week, people come in and pick up their commodities.
So anyway, when you were growing up, were you in town? Did you get to go to movies at the Nile Theater?
No, didn't go to movies.
They didn't have movies or the theater?
Actually, it wasn't running until like the early 70s. And then when they did get it running, then it burned down.
Yeah, it burned out right away.
Yeah, 75, 76.
And so did you ever go to Courtner's Corner?
Yes, always went to Courtner's Corner, yeah.
And what did you have at Courtner's Corner?
Oh, banana split, sundaes, and Mr. Courtner gave me and my brother Jonathan fishing lures, because he used to have fishing lures. He each gave us a fishing lure.
So, and did you use them fishing?
Nope, never used them fishing.
Did you fish though? Or
Yeah,
you got to go fishing?
fly fishing. Didn't use lures.
So where did you go fishing at?
I used to go over to the Little Thompson.
And your brother, what's your brother doing these days?
He lives in Washington.
So Do you get to see him often?
No, I haven't seen him for quite a long time, no.
And anything, what can you remember about Hot Springs when you were the bathhouse going? Did you get to go swimming?
Yeah. Yeah, you used to go swimming in there a lot. In fact, took swimming lessons there too, when they used to have the lessons at the bathhouse.
And what else did you get to do around Hot Springs? What else was there to do?
There wasn't anything to do. I was out in the country, so country kept me busy.
So, okay.
Yeah. Except when we moved to town, then it was different. Then there was a bunch of us kids that would play football in the park.
So while you were out in the country then, what did you do? Did you go ice skating in the winter?
No, I didn't get to do that.
Did you go horseback riding?
We didn't have horses. No, I helped my dad a couple summers with haying.
Okay. And I suppose he used a tractor. When did he put you on a tractor?
Well, I must have been about like 10, 11 years old.
You started early in those days, I think.
Started early, yeah.
So, and how did that go?
I liked it.
The
I
tractor?
loved it.
And did you have stackers? Did you stack the hay? Or
Stacked the hay, loose hay.
loose hay?
No bales, no
Oh.
bales. He did it the old-fashioned way. And also helped him too in the wintertime. I'd drive the tractor, and he'd be in the hay wagon and
Pitching the hay
pitching
to
the
the
hay out
cows.
to the cows. Yeah, driving the John Deere.
Oh, he had a John
He
Deere.
had a John Deere. Yeah.
And you say he didn't raise the alfalfa. It was your great grandpa or your grandpa.
Yeah, my grandfather was one who, but my dad did have the alfalfa, and in fact he got the royalty for it.
Oh, really?
There was royalty for it for so many years, and I guess it stopped in the late '60s, early '70s.
So, well, that was interesting. So, what else can you tell us about raising alfalfa, the seed?
In fact, my grandmother, I discovered this a year ago. I was looking through the old flathead ledgers. They were selling hay. My grandmother sold ton hay up in Kalispell, all over the place. Alfalfa hay,
Oh, yes. Raised from the seeds that.
raised from the seed that my grandfather got. Yeah.
And I don't suppose there was irrigation where the farm was.
Not where the alfalfa was. It was dry land. He didn't irrigate it, but the other hay, the Timothy and the red clover, that was all irrigated. And he didn't use irrigation pipe. It was all ditches.
Oh, yes.
Go
Irrigation.
up and down the ditches. In fact, I used to follow him when he did it.
And
Playing in ditches too.
and then the mosquitoes.
Yeah, and wasp.
The wasp.
And electric fences too, to boot.
And were there rattlesnakes around?
Supposedly they said there were. I never saw a rattlesnake.
How about other
No.
snakes? Water snakes?
Garter snakes and
Garter
water
snakes.
snakes.
Yeah.
And frogs. Lots of frogs.
Oh, frogs. Oh, yes.
Because we were right on the irrigation ditch. The irrigation ditch went right to the land.
So, Oh, yeah. And I don't know that there are many frogs left anymore. You never hear them.
Because we used to go out and catch frogs. Go out in the ditch and just catch them.
So, and listen to them at night.
Yeah. Listen to it at night too.
Okay. Anything more about the bathhouse or anything?
No, I never went in the bathhouse. Never took a bath there.
And, well, George, do you have any more questions?
Do you have any stories about your mom that she related to you?
Oh, she always used to tell us about stories about Missouri.
That's
about
what I
her,
heard.
about her, her
Yeah.
sisters, her cousins, and all. Her cousins were here, Mabel and Edna.
Right.
By the way, we're related to the Sallees too. The Sleeves were my Amy Salee, who homesteaded.
Salee.
She was my aunt, my great aunt to me, my aunt to my mom. She can't think of his name right now, but her uncle, Amy Salee's husband, was my mom's mother's brother, so they were related. So I had it on both sides. And they also brought the first Angus and Red Angus to the valley.
And where was their ranch?
Somewhere out that direction toward before Camas Prairie, before the hill.
Oh.
Somewhere down in there, I'm not sure. Their house burned down. And then they moved to Polson.
And so what else did your mother do?
She was a housewife.
And cooked a lot of bread, made a lot of bread.
Oh, no, we didn't have too much bread. She didn't do bread.
Did she can stuff from the
Yeah, she canned.
fruit?
Vegetables, not so much fruit.
Yeah.
And we used to have fresh chicken all the time because we raised chickens, so she'd cook the chicken.
And homemade noodles, did you?
Trying to think right now. Chicken and dumplings she used to make. They were good. And then we always had fresh beef and potatoes all the time. It was meat and potatoes.
So she raised a big garden and
Later on we raised a garden. And got a lot of stuff.
Any stories you remember about your Aunt Vi?
Yeah, I always go over and see her. And then when my Uncle Charlie was alive, he used to run the liquor store. Long time ago. Before he got sick.
See, the only way we can get any of that information is through you.
Yeah.
They're all gone. So.
yeah. So was Joe your uncle too then?
Joe was my cousin.
Oh, okay. I remember Joe Perkins.
He was my cousin.
He fixed radios and
That's what I've heard. He was good.
he was.
He was very good electronic.
Oh, yes. And the liquor store, that wasn't Joe, was it?
No, that was my uncle. That was his dad. Joe's dad, Charlie.
Oh, okay. And so what did some of your other uncles do around here? You had a Warren?
Warren lived in Spokane and Ralph lived in Denver. But there's one person that they don't have there, and that's my Aunt Leela. And she lived in Wyoming. But she used to live in Thompson Falls before she moved to Wyoming.
I think, yeah, my mom knew her.
Because, see, my grandmother died in Thompson Falls. And I guess my aunt took care of her in Thompson Falls. She went to Thompson.
I wonder if she went to school in Thompson Falls too.
Yes, she did.
So,
My Uncle Ralph, my Uncle Warren, my Aunt Pearl, Addie also did. There was a bunch of them. Von Sagans did too.
went there, It was a big dorm. Everybody lived
Yeah,
there.
they lived in a dorm in Thompson Falls. They had a 50th class reunion in early 70s because they were all here.
Oh, wow, huh? Because I remember Aunt Faye went there too, Faye Andrews, yeah. So were there any stories there? Were they pretty strict? They had a curfew, or do you...
I don't know what that was never told to me, so
Any of that stuff, huh?
don't know anything about that.
No other family stories?
No other
you can
family
remember?
stories. No, that's about it for the moment.
So what are you doing now then here?
I'm a minister. I have a congregation
Okay.
at Bible studies
Okay, and do you, where do you meet with your...
at my home.
Oh, do you? Okay. So, Oh, and what are your services?
On Saturday morning from 10 to about 12.
Okay, are you Adventist then?
Nope, I'm not Adventist, no. Or Messianic.
Is that something that we should realize about?
We just go by what the Bible says.
Okay.
Totally by the Bible. Strictly the Bible.
Study the Bible.
Mhm,
So,
that's what we
okay.
do.
Okay. And so you have pretty good congregation? You have a lot of people?
Yeah, I have about 5 or 6 people that come regularly. And by the way, I was told stories that my dad used to go to Lone Pine Reservoir in the wintertime, and he was an excellent skater.
Oh.
There was a whole bunch of them, the Taylors and the Andrews and the McGarras. They would all go to Lone Pine Reservoir and they would all skate. Mm-hmm. And then when my brother and I came along, one day my dad put on a pair of ice skates and he took both of us and he skated on the ditch. And he was going down the ditch with both of us in his arms. He had these pair of old time skates.
We have some at the museum. And did he get to swim in the reservoir too?
I don't know if he swam, but I know he probably did.
And probably fished up there.
Yeah. Probably before the pike got introduced. Yes.
He was a pilot too.
Yeah, my dad was a pilot also.
Oh, okay.
He had a pilot's license.
Oh.
Didn't know that? Yes, he did. He even had the book. You know, the logbook for pilot.
Yeah.
I used to go looking through it because we had like a cubby hole in the house. And he had this great big old wooden chest there, a drawer. It had, all the stuff. Keep track of everything in it. And he had this old log book there, and he had all of the logging in it.
So where all did he fly?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Do you have the logbook yet?
No, I don't have the logbook.
darn.
Lost that.
I wonder where he took flying lessons.
Probably here, Hot Springs. There's a lot of people here that flew.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this was a nice little airport, yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
I always had wonderful memories about living out in the country.
Well, let's hear some more.
Good memories. I could always just go up in the hills, get lost. There's so much sagebrush and rock and all of that, you could get lost there. There was so much land, over 400 acres of land. Then I'd go up in the orchard, and then I was told, better be careful, we might run into bears up there. Never saw a bear.
How about mountain lions?
No mountain lions. There's always a lot of deer. In fact, a whole herd of deer, like 30 or 40 deer we saw. But that's about it. And porcupine, that I did see. In fact, one day we were up in the orchard and there was this porcupine that got treed. My dad was trying to get it out of the tree. Took a board and he was going after it.
Did he get it out?
Yeah, he got it out.
Was it dead?
No, it's alive. No, it was a live porcupine. Chased it off.
Well, you're lucky you didn't have a dog with you.
No, I didn't have a dog with us at the time. No. Mm-mm.
So did you have dogs for pets when you were growing up?
Yeah, we had a dog. We brought it to town. Eventually, my Aunt Vi got him.
And she spoiled it like so.
Yeah, she spoiled it, of course. There's a couple of things that did come to mind, like the fire over here on the ridge. When lightning struck it, they actually had fire. We watched the storm, and watched lightning hit the hill, and hit it, and then you start seeing smoke, and then you start seeing flames. And we were right down by the water tank, where the cows went to drink water. We were just watching it. And the lightning was just striking the hill.
Yeah, we had some good lightning storms in those days too, didn't we? Really vicious.
And they also had a windstorm that took out Dad's barn. Just took it right out. I mean, the metal was just all over, sheet metal on the roof. It just tore it apart. It's where our cows went in the wintertime and the summertime. Had this open shed that they could go in and out. The wind came in and just took it right out, half of it. I remember he'd have to put it back together. He repaired it.
Because I think that one went right straight through the middle of the valley and across.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
it
took
did.
out a lot of windows in a lot of places.
Yeah, that was a really strong wind.
Uh-huh.
I was small when that happened. But I remember seeing the damage. I just saw the aluminum just all over the place.
It didn't kill any of your animals?
No, none of the cows were killed. No, they weren't in it at the time. They were all out in the field.
Did you raise turkeys?
No, we raised ducks. Had ducks and chickens. In fact, we had duck eggs, and we put them under a heat lamp. We had them down in the basement, and had these eggs. Put the eggs under it, and we watched them hatch, and then we raised them.
I bet that was fun.
It was. It wasn't so fun when you had to chase the ducks. When they got older, put them into the chicken coop. You know, it's time at nighttime to get them in the chicken coop before something happened to them. So I had to chase them, go down the ditch and chase them.
Out of the water, because that's where they
I
were
had
swimming.
to chase them out of the water, but they knew where to go. That's the thing about them. Have to go straight down the ditch and then see them and kind of go around and then start chasing them down, and then they go into the chicken coop.
And then you let them out in the morning.
Yeah, let them out in the morning with the chickens.
Did you have coyotes and that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
bother your
coyotes and
animals?
skunks.
Coyotes ever get into your chickens? Or?
You know, I don't ever remember them doing that.
There's something else that always got the chickens going in the chicken coops.
Raccoons.
Well, there's raccoon, but something like a skunk or
A weasel?
A weasel.
yeah, weasels. Yeah.
No, I never had weasels. But skunks. I saw a lot of skunks. In fact, that same dog that we had, that Aunt Vi eventually got hold of, he got skunked.
A few times.
One time.
Oh.
It was in a wood pile, and him and the skunk had an altercation. The skunk sprayed him, and he smelled, and we put tomato juice on him, so he toned down the smell.
And it worked?
It worked, yeah. For him, it did.
Well, I know your dad must have done other things with the neighbors and stuff, especially Shrivers. They lived right across.
Yeah, they lived right across.
And,
Yeah, they'd help each other. And Ed,
yeah.
and while James,
Oh, yeah.
he lived up on the hill until Fuzzy moved, and then he moved into Fuzzy's
Oh,
house.
did he? Oh, because I thought they went to Canada.
Oh, that was before.
And then Steve and Smokey, they must have done a lot too besides branding. Did they ever
Yeah.
play cards, get together and play cards?
Not that I know of. My dad always came to town to play cards on Saturday. He always played pinochle.
But you didn't get to come in and go to the shows
No,
on Saturdays.
no, didn't do that.
So he liked to play pinochle, huh?
Yeah, he played pinochle.
That was the thing they did in those days. There was no TV or anything. Do you remember getting a TV?
Yeah, we had a TV.
And radio?
Radio too. Listen to the radio a lot.
How about music? Did you ever play a guitar or piano or?
No. Mm-mm. In school, in the band I did later, but not at home.
So you took band. Did you
Yeah.
sing in chorus too then?
Yeah, in the programs with the grade school when the classes would sing, but not in later on. It wasn't in the choir.
So in the band, what did, as a band members, did you get to march in the parade Homesteaders Days?
No, we didn't.
Who was your band teacher?
Oh, we had several. Malachar was one. I can't remember
Okay.
There was another one later, but I don't remember his
Oh,
name.
that's all right. Why they didn't let you play in the band and march. Did you play at ball games?
Yeah, we did. In the 7th and 8th grade, we did that. And later on, too. But then in high school, I wasn't in band because I was in athletics.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you'll have to come up with more stories.
that's all I can think of right at the moment.
Well, what do you think of Hot Springs now?
Totally different. It's not the same.
Do you think if they ever got the bathhouse going that it would come back some? What do you think? Would you be pleased or?
Yeah, I don't know what it would do.
Well, they think it would bring more tourists in again, I guess, because we have the hot water.
But we do have one problem. You don't have a really good place to house these people. A real hotel, a real classy hotel. Something that's really nice and clean. That we don't have.
Or because in the old days, every place had a cabin or two.
There was cabins here and all motels and hotels here.
And they were all, always full.
Yes, they were always full. In fact, one of my cousins owned a motel too. Just right across the street here.
The sorts in town.
Hadine's.
And they were called what?
Alpha Hadine Motel,
Okay.
where the restaurant used to be before it burnt, There was a building that burned down that used to be Blue Sky.
Oh, yeah, right next to Reinerson's garage.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The real
That used to
office.
be a motel there. My cousin owned it and ran it. She'd come up here in the springtime during the tourist season because she lived in Missoula.
Well, it's been nice visiting with you.
That's good.
Yeah, we need more stories.
If I think of more, I'll tell you.
We've got about 45 minutes.
Well, maybe your wife could tell us some more stories on you.
Yeah, can you tell stories on me? You have permission.
So when you came back, did you start your ministry right away, or did you work here a little bit? Or?
Yeah, I started ministry right away.
Oh, okay.
It took a while, but
What about the addiction ministry?
yeah, we do an addiction ministry too.
What kind of ministry?
Addiction ministry.
Oh, okay.
That's more Dina's forte there. That's her expertise.
Okay.
She does the drug part, and I do the spiritual part of it.
Oh, so it's drugs or?
Drugs, alcohol, drug abuse, drug addiction.
Oh, okay. That's got to be a help for the area.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people here that
That's
are
what they keep
addicted.
telling me.
Yes, there is.
And are they asking for help?
Some do, but a majority of them don't do that.
So are they referred to you then from being arrested?
Not really.
We work across the U.S.
Oh,
Most people here don't want to get help.
oh, yeah,
They
That's-
want to stay in it.
yeah.
They really can't get loose.
So that's too bad. So across the U.S. you go, like big cities then? Or do you travel to these places then?
No, we do everything online.
Okay.
Instead of online. We have a couple of websites.
Okay.
Skype and
And does that help some people really? Ash?
Oh, it helps. It helps.
yeah.
And they really, well, so if they, find the Lord, I guess, then that helps them, I think.
That's what they need first and
Yeah.
foremost is to get saved
Yeah.
first and then
the
tackle
only
the problem
thing.
itself.
That's the only thing I think that helps them.
It is the only thing that helps them. Otherwise, they're still in that cycle. They may stop for a little bit and then they go back and then eventually it leads to their death.
And then their friends don't help. Their friends, oh, you can have one. That's alcohol.
Yeah.
One won't hurt you.
Yep, one is too much.
Yeah.
Bill's really good at spiritually advising people and teaching them. He doesn't like to toot his own horn, but he's really good at it.
I'm humble.
Well, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody
Have
has
to go
to
into
take
the
a hold and
trenches.
help some. Sometimes, even if you help one.
One person that's helped is worth it.
Uh-huh.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for
Well,
coming.
thank you, Gwen.
Bill, and-
Thank you, George.
Yeah, so